Picture this. It's October 22nd, 2001. For you, it's the biggest day of the year. You're in line at your local game store, patiently waiting for the first sale of a PS2 game you've been eyeing for over a year now. Or maybe you're driving by that store knowing you're going to pick it up for the PC next month. Or you're waiting till next October so you can pick it up for the Xbox, since that console is going to drop in November of 2001. Regardless, I wonder if you knew that that title would be one of the most influential games to ever hit the shelves. It would revolutionize video games and redefine the open world genre. Of course, I'm talking about GTA 3, my first step in playing every single one of the most popular Game of the Year winners of this century. I have a lot of love for the GTA series. San Andreas is one of the first games I ever had as a kid that made me feel like I was a big kid. GTA 4 was the second game I got for my Xbox, and I still remember trying to cheat in the helicopter right in front of the hospital and never getting it right. And GTA 5 was and still is one of the best video games I've ever played, and it holds a lot of memories for me with my friends growing up. That's why I was stoked that this would be the first game in my Game of the Year project. As part of my series, I'm taking it upon myself to... Hello? Yeah, I'm recording right now. No, I will not give you the floor. Fine.
Please help me. He's making me play all the games all the way through on Twitch. I haven't eaten in days.
Ignore him. He's being dramatic. He is right though. Twitch ajoll's live a few nights a week to fully play these games, so if that's something you're interested in, head over there and follow him. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Anyway, a core part of development for GTA 3 was bringing elements of the 2D GTA world into the third dimension, which is no small feat and is easily one of, if not the most impressive aspect of this game as a whole. Layer in the fact that the voice acting, missions, and gameplay for this game were exceptional for the time, and it's easy to see why this was the most popular game of the year of 2001. To achieve their lofty goals of fully realizing a three-dimensional world, Rockstar Games, based in New York, partnered with a 23-person team at DMA Design in Edinburgh. Fun fact, DMA actually ended up integrating with Rockstar, so they've worked on a bunch of GTA games since. Development started with a tech demo created in 1999 at the back end of GTA 2's development. DMA had just finished working on Space Station Silicon Valley, which is a game with a third-person perspective that is really similar to the one that GTA 3 ships with. You might be wondering what inspired the switch to 3D, and the answer is really simple. Rockstar wanted it to happen, so that tech demo was built on the Dreamcast. And if you don't know what the Dreamcast is, that's okay. It was a Sega console that was discontinued in March of 2001, making it commercially impossible for this game to launch on that system. It must have been clear that the Dreamcast was on the way out though, because just 4 months into GTA 3's development, the game prioritized PlayStation 2 as its launch console. Funnily enough, Rockstar actually pitched GTA 3 to Microsoft as a launch exclusive, but no dice. Microsoft declined because the violent nature of the game was tough to get past, especially since they considered that the previous GTA games did not perform well in the market. It just wasn't a risk they wanted to take. Producer Leslie Benzies publicly described GTA 3 as a crime simulation game, which I think does the game a major disservice. Even as the first iteration of what we now know to be the modern GTA game, the game had the makings of a great story with somewhat complex characters. Two things that I think had much more of an effect on the success of this game than Microsoft might have considered. I wonder if they regret the decision to turn it down. GTA 3 was the best-selling game of 2001. Remember, it shipped in mid to late October. It only had 2.5 months, not even a full quarter to hit those numbers. Plus, it's one of the PS2's best-selling games of all time at 11.6 million units sold. Add in the other 2.9 million from other platforms, and I think you have yourself a bona fide commercial success. But okay, there are a lot of games that sell well. So how did GTA 3, a game that wasn't even expected to succeed commercially by an industry titan, not only make bank, but fundamentally change the gaming industry and how we view video games forever? I think there are a few answers. Let's start with the obvious one. Open world games became viable. Not only that though, good open world games became viable. If you walked up to someone before this game released and said, yeah, I'm about to go buy a game that has been fully realized in the third dimension, an open world map that you can freely explore as you complete the story, over 30 named characters and countless others with voice lines totaling over 10,000 lines, multiple unique radio stations with complete sound design, over 50 unique missions that each tell a mini story within the game's larger story, cutscenes captured with motion capture technology, 13 different weapons with distinct functionality, and 56 different controllable cars, not including the unpilotable Airbus, they would look at you like you're crazy, but then they'd go with you to buy a copy. There's really so much more that I could explain in excruciating detail, but I won't, because you get it. GTA 3 provides a more realized experience as a video game than some of the games I pick up today. It marked the standard for video games like this to be set in a simulated world instead of against static backgrounds. That's something that wasn't easy, so it's incredible in its own right, and it's something that's had long-lasting effects on the industry as a whole. The world was built on a physics engine so robust and lifelike for the time that players would spend hours just doing stuff. Usually violent stuff. Which brings me to my next point, and the more controversial reason GTA 3 completely changed the gaming industry. The violence. Violence in video games has been a long-lasting discussion in our society, typically led by those with more traditional views on which content should be allowed for our consumption. Everyone knows that GTA games are games where you do crime. Really, they're games where you're incentivized to do crime because that's how you progress in the game. Sorry to interrupt your viewing experience, but I'm editing right now and I'm realizing that a point that I'm saying right now kind of conflicts with what I said about it being just a crime simulation game. And I wanted to clarify that I think in the context of what the producer said, it kind of limits the view of the game and it kind of like waters it down to just crime simulation. And I think for this point, this aspect, it's really important to remember that it's an inescapable part of the game. While I think these games are so much more and they have great story and they have great everything, you do have to do crime, so it's why it's always brought into this discussion. Anyway, back to the video for you. I mean, GTA 5's opening is a bank heist, then a shootout with the law, then a high-speed escape, and then another shootout. So there's no doubt that there's violence in the game, and you, as the player, have to do it. The real discussion that was launched was whether in-game violence can lead to real-world violence. I don't want to get into the weeds of that discussion for a lot of reasons, mainly because I'm not an expert, but I will say I've consumed a lot of violent video game content. That's not a flex. I'm just saying I've never committed any violent crimes, and I've never seriously considered committing violent crimes. Studies as recent as 2024 tell us there is no significant link between the violence in video games and the neural and behavioral responses to the pain of others, which basically just means people know it's a video game. Furthermore, people who commit violent crimes but play games like this would have committed the crimes anyway. This discussion around violence in video games finds a way to pop up every so often, so I imagine that once GTA 6 releases, it'll be back in full swing. Rockstar won't ever be able to escape this discussion, but I do think they embrace being one of the sources of contention pretty well, but I digress. GTA 3 is layered with games. It's a driving simulator, a third-person shooter, a task-based simulation game, all wrapped into one. Its individual pieces add up to something that is exponentially greater. As a gamer, I don't think you could ask for much more. And honestly, I really can't. This game is fantastic, especially for the time. As I was playing it, I remember praising the visual fidelity. I think the game looks great. I love the mission quality. I never got bored. I mean, I definitely got frustrated, but I never got bored. It was nice to have different weapons to spice up the combat. And I'm not saying that is a revolutionary idea, but it was an important piece of the puzzle. The audio was great. I loved hearing the NPC's lines during the game. I think my favorite was "My mother's my sister," but there were a lot of good gems. Okay, it's time for the official ajoll ruling. Does this game hold up? Yes. If you can get past the downgrade in visual quality that we've grown accustomed to, you'll love this game. It's totally worth your time. All right, that is 2001's Game of the Year, the first stop in this very long 25 game series that I am doing. Be sure to head over to Twitch if you want to see me play these games, or sub here if you just want to catch the video recap after I've finished. My name is ajoll. Thank you for letting me be the little guy in your phone, and I will see you later.